Yeah, and there's different things you can, obviously different tools you can use. There are a lot of great tools out there that help you measure content. Google Analytics, even though I loathe Google Analytics 4, is a good place to start, and it's free. But there's tools like Parsley, which are really good if you're doing high volume content. It's more for web content. It doesn't capture things that are off your site, but those will give you clear indicators of what's performing well. But I think the key step is understanding who it's performing for and why. Because again, you can have things that are performing really well, but it's not really targeting the right audience. And so then you might look at like various tools, ABM tools that are helping you understand those anonymous visitors on your site and seeing, making sure they're matching with your target audience.
Mm-hmm. Just to follow up on that, I think like for websites, there are like a pretty mature ecosystem of the Clearbits of the world, the Zoom info of the world to tell who's actually visiting the website. For things like a podcast or things like a YouTube video or things like LinkedIn, it's kind of hard to know who is engaging. What are some ways that you are actually measuring those engagements and who is actually engaging?
Yeah, it's a very good point. So podcast analytics, as I mentioned, are not advanced, and there are some tools that'll help you get a closer sense of that. So one of them is Chartable. They've been around forever, and they were acquired by Spotify a couple of years ago. That's a pretty good analytics tool. It won't get you all the way down to who, but it will give you some basic kind of demographic info and show you compared to the median listener in the United States, like how your podcast indexes for different types of demographics and sort of industry. The other thing you can do, and I would encourage people to do if they have a large podcast or a growing podcast, is you run a survey. You run a survey to that audience and you ask them these questions, and you can get a pretty clear sense of both who they are and also what types of topics they're interested in, so you can improve the content. On the social side, you've got your tools that have been around forever, like Sprout Social, Hootsuite, things like that. The great thing about LinkedIn is you can see exactly who everybody is, right? That's why it's such a powerful platform for B2B. You just know exactly who's engaging, exactly what they do, what their company is, what industry they're in. And so that one, I think, is, while the tooling and analytics aren't great for LinkedIn, you can just spend time on there and really get a sense pretty quickly about, is this resonating with the right people? What other channels did you mention? Did you mention YouTube? Yeah, YouTube's a tough one, I would say. YouTube analytics are pretty good, much better than podcasting. But YouTube is tough. I think you can look at some of the comments and some of the people there. I think you'll get some basic demographic info, but that's probably another one where you might consider running a survey, or you could probably do some combination of some campaign where you're driving people to your website and then you're kind of getting information from them there.
Yeah. It's almost, you have to, on your receiving end, do that work. If the platform doesn't tell you, it's like when a new lead comes in, it's like, where did you hear about us? Or like making sure your sales team is asking that question. It is not always accurate because people's memory is unreliable. At least you can get some proxy around it. Sounds like, a lot of times is the best we can do.
It's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Is you have to have that self-reported attribution built in to your marketing, so that because it's going to be a much better measure of all of your top of funnel, thought leadership, brand content than any of the attribution tools will be able to give you right now.